Hey guys, today's November 21st. It's a beautiful Friday, and I wanted to do a lecture on being rude to people because, although very rare, sometimes I'll see one student answer another student's question in a very rude way. And whenever I see it, it always makes me wonder, why? Because whenever I look at my life, I'm like, well, what's the point of being rude to people? And let me explain it this way. Why speak at all? Why do you talk? Why do you communicate? Well, you communicate for basically one of two reasons. To either one, help someone. You're trying to communicate an idea to them that will help them. Or two, maybe to change their mind about something. Maybe to make them think a certain way, and maybe it's not directly to help them, but you're trying to get them to do X or help you out with this, right? There's a few reasons to speak, but every single reason that you speak is usually towards a goal. And in that goal, you want to influence them, right? You want to have a good hit rate. You want it to be that if you try and tell someone that they should go to the gym because it's better for them, if you're trying to help someone out, you want to make sure that the words you say have the highest chance of actually getting them to the gym. And this is where being rude has always made me ponder why. Because if you're rude, I do want you to understand that the person's probably not going to listen to you. They're probably not going to like you very much, and people don't listen to people they don't like. They're going to hear your words. They're going to think, this guy's a dickhead, and then they're just kind of going to ignore you, or they'll probably argue with you. And now what? Okay, so you used your words. Now you're in an argument with this stranger. The stranger doesn't like you very much, and what did you get out of it? What was the purpose of talking at all? If it was to influence, it's a horrible strategy. Being rude is a horrible strategy if your goal is actually to influence people. So what's the point? To make them angry? Why do you want some stranger to be angry? Why do you want them to dislike you? What is the point of all of it? I want you guys to understand that being rude to people essentially is dumb. It's a waste of your time. It's a waste of their time. It's a waste of everyone's time. And that's why I'm sure many of you guys may have noticed that no matter how quote unquote dumb a question I get, I'm never rude to students and I'm never angry at them because I understand that one, they probably don't mean to ask a dumb question. They probably are very genuine in it and they actually aren't trying to waste my time. They genuinely are curious and they want to know. Maybe their laziness has gotten a little bit of hold of them and they want to outsource their thinking to me, but that's fine. They don't mean it from any point of offense. And if I wanted them to stop outsourcing their thinking to me, I'd explain to them why it's bad for them, and I'd try and influence them to actually stop outsourcing their thinking to me. I wouldn't be rude, because rude doesn't help me. Rude doesn't help anyone, and I do want you guys to just keep this in your mind. If you're going to say things that don't have an objective, if you're going to say things and you actually want those words to do what you want them to do, then be nice about it. Be influential. If you're going to speak at all, you might as well speak to the best of your ability, right? And I'm letting you guys know now, being rude, minus some crazy edge case, which is hard for me to fathom, is basically never a good idea. The only time I can imagine you want to be rude is if you specifically want to infuriate someone, if you specifically want to start an argument. And in my life, I can't think of a single moment in my life where I've genuinely been like, okay, the best move on the board, the best way for me to use my time is to get in an argument with this person right now. How do I do that? I'm going to be rude to them. I can't think of a single moment I've had to play that card. I can't see a single moment where you would really need to play that card. It's such a rare edge case that essentially when I see people being rude to other people, I just think, man, that person's kind of an idiot. And it makes me want to do these type of lectures for you guys because, look, it's a mistake that I think is very, very common to make. It's a very emotional mistake, and I want you guys to understand why. It's not going to help you get anywhere. It just makes people dislike you. It's a waste of your breath because the person's never going to listen. They're never going to follow your advice. If you give your advice in a rude way, I'm just letting you know now, the chances of it being accepted is basically zero. It's not going to happen. In fact, no matter how good you gave the advice, no matter how real it is, let's imagine that you're telling someone, oh, what, you dummy? You're just going to starve to death? Here, you need to eat this, fool. Okay, let's suppose that you say that to a literally starving person. I want you to understand that, yeah, you're right. They need to eat to live. But also, guess what? They might literally commit suicide to spite you. That's how bad your words were. The easiest sell in the world Here, eat some food so you don't die. And you've managed to mess it up by trying to be rude. So get this out of your brain that being rude is ever useful. Don't be rude to people. Be very nice to people. And I guess the moral of the story is, truthfully, if you're ever going to use your words, if you're ever going to end up speaking, if you're going to spend the time and calories to come up with the words, you might as well make them very, very good at what you want them to do. Which, in my experience, basically the only reason you should speak at all is to try and influence people for the better. So if you're not doing that, if you're just making people angry, if you just want to talk because you're angry or whatever, stop doing that. Just be quiet then. There's no need to be rude. Hopefully this makes sense. Hopefully this helps. And what I'd like you guys to try to do for your assignment today is I'd like you to actually be very, very cognitive about what words you say today and why you say things. Because I've seen so many people talk on and on and on and on and on. And so many times I ask myself, why are they talking so much? They're saying words, but what's the goal of the words? Some people may notice that when I'm in the chats, every single chat I type out, there's a purpose behind it. And that's because I'm very efficient and I respect my time. I respect your guys' time. I'm not going to blog up the chats with words that don't have any purpose or words that are not very, very well equipped to serve that purpose. I don't believe in it. I think it's a waste of time. I think we should respect our time in this earth too much to waste it willy-nilly, talking all day about this and about that. So try for your assignment today to catch yourself. What is the purpose of my words? I just spoke for 5 minutes. Why? Did every single word matter? Did I do that properly? Did I do that as well as I could? What was I trying to get out of those words, right? I can answer these questions all the time. I'm trying to give you guys a lesson, a life tool that hopefully will help you make better decisions and live a better life in your future. That's why I'm doing this lesson. I'm trying to teach you guys that words should have a purpose, and if they don't have a good purpose, if there's no reason to say the words, you just shouldn't say them. There's no need to be rude to people because being rude to people is very, very anti-influential. It's going against the direct purpose of words. Words are to influence. Being rude hurts your ability to influence, so never be rude. Hopefully this makes sense, and hopefully this helps.